Hello there, welcome to CoreTV News at 7. I am Gift Ogete. Security forces on Thursday fired tear gas canisters inside the National Assembly complex to stop the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Aminu Tambuwal, from gaining access into the chamber. He was, however, smuggled in by other federal lawmakers after they had earlier beaten the barricade put up by the police at the main gate. Some members of the House of Representatives had to scale the fence of the complex to gain entrance, while a long line of vehicles were visible on the short road leading into the assembly. David Mark has shut down the National Assembly in the aftermath of the pandemonium that rocked the complex. He announced the decision shortly after he entered the chamber in his capacity as leader of the federal legislature. The Senate president said he had no choice in the aftermath of the commotion that engulfed the complex when police stormed the assembly. He deferred all legislative activities in both chambers till Tuesday next week. Still on the siege of the National Assembly by a combined team of the police and operatives of the Department of State Services, CoreTV News spoke to the Minority Whip of the House of Representatives, Samson Osage, for what transpired at the National Assembly complex. He gave us a description of what went on during the invasion of the complex.
Armed security men made up of police and hooded members of the invaded the entrance this morning, and they were searching every vehicle as they were bringing members into the National Assembly. Upon sighting the convoy of Mr. Speaker Aminu Tambuwal, they hurriedly closed the gate so that he would not have access to the National Assembly to go and preside over the request by the President for the extension of the state of emergency. That led to a situation where members who were in the entourage of Mr. Speaker had to jump the fence and begin to find their way into the assembly because it was uncalled for. It was an uncultured manner for security agencies to attempt to interfere with the internal workings of the National Assembly. Mr. Speaker was practically smuggled by a large number of members into the National Assembly by forcing the gate open. So what you saw today was an unprovoked attack on the National Assembly by the security agencies under the directive of the presidency. We are appalled that our democracy had to plummet this level in a manner that we have no respect for other organs of government who are supposed to be performing their responsibilities.
But can you confirm if the House was able to sit today?
Eventually, when members succeeded in finding their way into the House after forcefully opening the gate and the Speaker smuggled into the gate, canisters of tear gas were shot at members, before they eventually entered into the chambers and they sat and tempers rose. Mr. Speaker had to count down free deaths before we eventually sit in order to attempt to take the matter that was on the other paper. However, because of the unconducive atmosphere, we could not take the matter that was slated for the debate today. In fact, the Senate President had to cross over from the Senate chambers to come and attempt to intervene in what was an embarrassing situation in the National Assembly over which he's chairman.
Yes, we heard of the report that the Senate President, David Mack, has shut down the National Assembly. What effect does that have on proceedings, especially as it concerns the proposed extension of the emergency rule?
Well, as it is, it has not been granted. It has not been considered by either chambers of the National Assembly. In fact, the implication for us is that there is no emergency rule as we speak. By 12 midnight today, the emergency rule would have ended, and then there will be no emergency rule because the president and the presidency, who asked us to consider the request, sent after us policemen and armed security officers to intimidate, harass, and to prevent us from doing the job. So the implication is that even the presidency does not want the emergency rule to be considered.
Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has slammed the Jonathan's administration, describing it as crude, the method it uses in humiliating and harassing perceived political enemies. Reacting to the police action at the National Assembly, the former Vice President said in a statement that the siege mentality of the administration poses grave threats to Nigeria's democracy, the rule of law, and the principle of separation of power. He said the behavior of the PDP-led government towards Tambuwal was not acceptable under a president that has committed himself to upholding the rule of law. The former vice president ordered that the abuse of power by using state agents to harass perceived opponents is not only capable of hitting the polity, but also carried the risk of polarizing and politicizing security operatives in the country. Meanwhile, the police have justified the action of the operatives at the National Assembly. They say the men were deployed to the National Assembly in response to intelligence report of a likely invasion of the House of Representatives by hoodlums and thugs. Police spokesman Emmanuel Ojukwu also claimed that Speaker Aminu Tambuwal led what he described as a motley crowd to break the cordon and assault policemen. He insisted in a statement issued in Abuja that the police team was forced to restore order and normalcy. The police statement was silent on the use of tear gas in the complex, but claimed that the operatives used lawful means to prevent a breakdown of law and order. Well, in spite of the police action, Tambuwal presided over a special session of the House of Representatives on the presidential request for an extension of emergency rule in the 3 northeastern states. He explained the reason why the lawmakers had to cut short their recess, as well as talked on why the House went on break in the first place. The House later went into a closed session to consider President Jonathan's request.
On Tuesday, the 18th November 2014, I received a communication from the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan GCFR, requesting for the extension of the existing state of emergency in Adamawa, Borno, and Yobe states by the House of Representatives. As you are aware, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, 1999, in its Section 305, subsection 2, requires that once such communication is received, the Speaker shall forthwith convene or arrange a meeting of the House. Again, Section 5, subsection 6, in its paragraph, contemplates that a request for the extension of the state of emergency, when submitted to the legislature, shall be deliberated and concluded upon preferably before the expiration of the period of 6 months of the existing approval. I should remind my honorable colleagues that the last extension approved expires 12 midnight this Thursday, hence this special session. In view of some erroneous insinuations from certain quarters on the current recess which are capable of misinforming the unsuspecting public, I consider it necessary to make some clarification.
You're watching CoreTV News at 7. We'll take this break. Stay with us.
I no longer worry about deodorant stains with Nivea Invisible for black and white deodorant. No white marks on black and no yellow stains on white. My black stays black and white stays white longer. And I stay 48 hours protected. New Invisible for black and white deodorant from Nivea.
Also available, Nivea Men Invisible for black and white deodorant from Nivea Men.
Welcome back. Good to have you. Stay tuned. It's Core TV News at 7. Remember that you can also catch us on our social media platforms. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/CoreTVNews. On Twitter at CoreTVNewsNG. And on YouTube, it's youtube.com/CoreTV_news. To Ekiti State now, the crisis rocking the Ekiti State House of Assembly has taken another dimension. The PDP caucus of the House on Thursday impeached Adewale Omiri as a speaker and replaced him with Dele Olugbemi. The PDP lawmakers also sacked all other principal officers of the House. This is coming even as the streets of Ado-Ekiti was greeted with protests in the early hours of the day, calling for the removal of Omiri. The PDP House leader of business stated reasons behind the said impeachment.
The former speaker, Dr. Adewale Omiri, and his deputy served the state for almost 3.5 years. We are grateful to them. The House will continue to accord them deserved recognition and respect. We will continue to tap from the wealth of experience, leadership in the legislators' arms of government is collegiate, and every honorable member is a potential principal officer.
We have changed the principal officers of the state, of the House of Assembly. The Speaker has been impeached.
All right, sir.
The Deputy Speaker has been impeached. They have been impeached on the ground that, one, they left their official responsibility without an official notice. Two, for not to be able to coordinate the House of Assembly members, trying to divide the House of Assembly members. Three, holding the states hostage with the responsibility the whole to have render for this state to move forward. Four, for relating or revealing official secrets of the state to some interested party outside the government. Five, for misappropriation of the House of Assembly fund. Six, for signing a resolution that the House of Assembly members did not know about. That is the resolution of allowing the past government to get 5 billion naira bond from steering bank without being passed in this allo chamber.
Meanwhile, the impeached Deputy Speaker of the Ekiti House of Assembly, who was purportedly impeached along with the Speaker, Adewale Omiri, Taiwo Orishalade, who is also the All Progressives Congress member, says the sitting where he was allegedly impeached with all other principal officers of the Ekiti State House of Assembly is an illegal one. He spoke exclusively to Core TV News on the telephone on the intrigues and happenings in the State House of Assembly.
The sitting of the House can only be summoned and convened by the Right Honourable Speaker, giving notice to the clerk to communicate all the members. That is supported by our Order 13 of the Standing Orders of the House. No other person has the right to summon the sitting of the House except the Right Honourable Speaker, and in his absence, myself.
Okay.
Apart from that, the people over there are just 7. They do not form the constitutional quorum of a third of the House. The quorum is 9 members. Because we are 26, 19 of us are presently here, and 7 of them are there. So they have no right to someone who is sitting. They cannot sit, and the people who can even lead the business of the House, the majority majority leader, the deputy majority leader, the chief whip, and the deputy chief whip are not even amongst them. So the question is, who conducted the business of the House? We have a standing order, and there are provisions that regulate all our activities. So apart from the fact that they don't form a quorum, that sitting did not receive the requisite consent and approval, as we did both under the Constitution and our standing order.
Adamawa State chapter of the People's Democratic Party held a town hall meeting condemning the dissolution of the state executive by the National Working Committee of the party. The meeting had in attendance members of the defunct state exco, members of the Board of Trustees and aspirants under the platform of the People's Democratic Party. The meeting generates heated argument among members who expressed grief and disapproval over the development. There was also protest demanding the reinstatement of the defunct exco. Some members argued that the action of the National Working Committee is wrong and unacceptable to the state PDP. Lawrence Mbale, Yaya G. Gombi and other stakeholders of the party say they will resist any attempt to impose an unpopular candidate on the party in the state. Presidential aides and members of the First Family this morning held a brief prayer session to mark the 57th birthday of President Goodluck Jonathan. The president later cut birthday cakes inside his official residence at the presidential villa in Abuja. Speaking at the event, President Jonathan stressed the need for peace and harmony in the country.
Organized, look as if we are doing the human celebration. Let me react on behalf of my wife and my family. Since any time all of you have made it possible, I want to effectively sign on today. For use the opportunity to reassure Nigerians that though we are facing challenges, God will see this country through. No one individual will hold this country together. Let us be together, work hard, and pray to God. Surely, we will be safe. Thank God of you.
The federal government has reviewed the 2015 budget proposal from 4.817 trillion to 4.661 trillion naira in response to falling oil prices. An indication to this was seen in the new 2015-2017 medium-term expenditure framework sent to the National Assembly by the presidency. President Goodluck Jonathan explained in a covering letter addressed to the Senate President that the 156 billion naira cut in the 2015 spending plan is due to the slump in oil price. The government plans to spend 1.20 trillion on capital expenditure, while recurrent expenditure is put at 2.62 trillion naira. The document showed that the benchmark oil price was put at $73 a barrel, with a projected production volume of 2.27 million barrels a day. The government also projected 4.733 trillion naira and 4.93029 trillion naira as expenditure for 2016 and 2017 respectively. State governments are demanding $2 billion from the excess crude account to complete ongoing projects. They have since sent a proposal outlining the request to President Goodluck Jonathan. Accountant General of the Federation, Jonah Otunla, disclosed this on Tuesday night on the sidelines of a meeting of the Federal Account Allocation Committee meeting. He ordered that the balance of the account presently stands at $4.1 billion. Ebonyi State Commissioner for Finance and Chair of Finance Commissioners Forum, Mr. Timothy Oda, for his part, noted that state governments are optimistic that President Goodluck Jonathan would favorably consider their proposal. It's CoreTV News at 7. We'll take another break and be back shortly. Don't go away.
Lagos, get ready to experience a roller coaster beyond what you knew about Fuji.
That's right.
K1 Live Unusual Concert. It's Fuji Redefined by the king of Fuji himself, King Wasiu Ayinde Marshall, the ultimate. With breathtaking performances from Lagbaja, Tubaba, Victor Laya, DJ Jimmy Jazz, Olamide, Sasha P, Honeybee, and many more. K1 Live Unusual, 21st of November at the Eco Hotel Convention Center. Hosted by King of Comedy, Alibaba, and Comedy by Bucci. Red carpet starts at 7 p.m. Tickets 10,000. Premium table 1 million. VIP table 2 million. State box 5 million.
Think you can handle it?
Tickets available at Niger Ticket Shop outlets in the Hotel and Suites, Silverbed Cinemas in VI, Ikeja City Mall and Ozone Cinema in Yaba, or online at NigerTicketShop.com. For table bookings, call 09025 K1 Live or 0902 551 5483. Email glproductions@sodiumng.com. Supported by Lagos State Government, Lassa, Beat, Niger, Classic FM, Hip TV, Ray Power, Kenny's Music, Prime Time, BHM, Mega Screen, and EEC. K1 Live Unusual.
Get down.
Fuji Redefined.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying tuned with us. It's CoreTV News at 7. And now to North Korea. In response to a United Nations move towards a probe into North Korea's human rights violation, the country has threatened to conduct a nuclear test. Its foreign ministry on Thursday accused the United States of orchestrating a recent UN resolution calling for the investigation. North Korea previously conducted nuclear tests in 2006, 2009, and 2013. Its threats comes as new satellite images emerge indicating fresh activity at the North Korean nuclear facility. A UN Human Rights Committee had earlier passed a resolution calling on the Security Council to refer North Korea to the International Criminal Court for alleged crimes against humanity. Pyongyang says the resolution was based on fabricated testimonies from North Korean defectors and slander against Pyongyang. It ordered that its military deterrence will be beefed up limitlessly to guard against the U.S. The U.S. State Department spokesman, in response to the accusation, says it would certainly be unfortunate to threaten with that kind of activity in response to the legitimate focus on North Korea's human rights situation by the international community. Analysts, however, say that it is unlikely that the Security Council will allow North Korea to be tried in the ICC, as Russia and China, which voted against the resolution, sit on the council. And that's our news for this hour. Join us at 9:45 for Prime Time News. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of our programs. I am Gift Ogete. Good evening.